Right, what is up YouTube? Hope you are all good, whatever time of the day you're watching this video. As you can see, I've pretty much just woken up. Just took my fasted weight, which was 78.7 kilos. So it's on the way down, which is how I want it to be, especially after training legs yesterday without doing any cardio. For some reason, it always just seems to drop quite a bit more after a leg day, even without cardio on. So I think that's mainly due to me just burning so many calories when I'm training legs, and it just wipes me out pretty much. But yeah, it's now, I think it's like 8:20. I'm gonna go do my cardio. I've got 25 minutes on the bike downstairs, and then I need to get started with, basically I've got to do this like course from home for the next 3 days, which is pretty nice because it means I don't have to go into the office. So that's good. It means less time spent stuck in a car in traffic, which is always welcomed in my eyes. But yeah, I'll take you through a full day of eating today on a rest day. So food has changed quite a bit on rest days compared to what it was when I was bulking up. Previously it was like 3,800 calories, so now it's like 2,900, and it's pretty similar. It's almost the exact same in terms of what foods I'm having, but just less of them. And then I'll explain why I've pulled certain foods from each meal, what my macros are, why they are what they are, why I'm pulling from certain macros on this day, and sort of contrast that roughly with training day. I will do a new training day video at some point. I'll probably wait for food to come down a little bit more, but yeah, I've been long overdue a rest day one for quite a while now, so I'll about to do my cardio, and then I'll catch up with you meal one probably. I'm probably not gonna film my cardio because I think my mum's downstairs hoovering up, and I don't think she's gonna want to feature in the YouTube video. So yeah, catch you in a bit. Right, I forgot to mention as well, at the moment I'm doing 25 minutes of cardio as opposed to 20. Still not too much higher than it was, obviously, in the off season. Just gives me a lot of runway to keep progressing the cardio, as I need to keep burning calories throughout this cut. To be honest, I don't imagine it'll go above 45 minutes really, and even then that's still completely fine, to be fair. And if I don't have time in the mornings to get all that done, I can always split it up and do some in the evenings if I need. Luckily I have this trusty bike, so I can do it as and when I need pretty much. Also got a nice little fan, so I'm always absolutely sound when I get off here. I used to just do it normal and just pour sweat all over the floor. No, I'm not too bad. So right, yes guys, back again, finished up with cardio, and I did a little bit of like my mobility work straight after that because I had a little bit more time this morning, so I wasn't rushing around. So just basically did like 20 minutes of stretching pretty much while my body temperature is warm. Usually with my mobility work I tend to do it in the evenings after work. Like on my rest days I'll get home, back from the office, whatever, kind of walk to the gym, that's some steps, train abs, and then do my mobility work. But if I've got time, I'll usually try and do it straight after cardio when my body temperature is just naturally higher, and just means you kind of get a bit more out of it, and it's just more effective. If there's more blood flow going, you are more flexible technically. So yeah, that's one thing to take note of. In terms of the moment, I'm literally just banging out quick 5-minute steps on the walking pad, and then having my meal one, which is kind of pretty much the same as it used to be. In the off season, it was 5 eggs, 250 grams of egg whites, and 2 chicken sausages. Now it is 3 eggs, 220 grams of egg whites, and 1 chicken sausage. So the whole time throughout the off season, this was basically just a protein and fat meal, and it's still just a protein and fat meal. That's for insulin sensitivity purposes. If you basically don't give yourself an insulin spike first thing in the morning when your cortisol is at its highest, you are then more sensitive to the carbs that you eat in your other meals throughout the rest of the day. So that's why I do that on my rest days, because I essentially don't need to get a stupid amount of carbs in on my rest days. I carb cycle my diet, so on rest days I eat less carbs, on training days I eat more carbs, and trying to cram 700 grams. I mean, I could do 700 grams of carbs in 4 meals if I needed on training days, but when my carbs were at close to 1,000 grams in the off season, that would have been very difficult. So yeah, that's why I have 5 normal carb meals in the off season, even though I train dead late, so I theoretically could get away with having a no carb meal as my first meal. So yeah, in the off season then, on my rest days I would have higher protein, just to kind of keep the carbs a little bit lower so I can stay more sensitive. Whereas now I'm dieting, I need to pull the calories from somewhere. So instead of pulling the carbs even lower, I'm just going to essentially just reduce a little bit of the protein from this meal, just because I don't actually need as much protein as I was having in the off season. I can have it and it can be beneficial, but I don't need it. So for me, it will be more beneficial to actually take a little bit out, kind of give my digestive system a bit of a break, and keep a little bit of carbs in. So I'm still having like 316 grams of carbs throughout the day on a rest day. And my protein is sitting at, I think it's like 275 grams, so it's still very high. So the majority of changes that I've made throughout the day, as you will see, as I'll talk you through, are from fats. I've pulled my fats down on rest days quite considerably. And from this point onwards, I probably won't pull the fats down that much more on rest days, or at least not. I don't see them going below 50 grams on a rest day. I think from this point onwards, I'll probably pull more from carbs. And training days, it's just gonna have to be carbs as well, because my fats are kind of at like a lowish point. They're at like 39 grams now, so I don't necessarily want to pull from direct fat sources on those days. I'd rather pull from carbs, and some trace fats from things like oats and stuff might come out with that, so they might end up getting to like 35 grams, but my carbs at that point will still be pretty high, so I'll have plenty of energy. I'll be fine. But yeah, I'll take you through my meal one in a second. Let me just go get it. Right, this is the topic of discussion, meal number one, and it is basically just cold scrambled eggs and chicken sausages. The reason it's cold is because I made it last night, because in the mornings I'm usually just very like busy. I'm basically don't have time to cook the meal in the morning with doing cardio and getting ready and stuff. I need to get on the road ASAP as well to try and beat the traffic. So I usually just make it the night before and just firm eating cold scrambled eggs. It's what it fucking is. I'm not really that arsed. But yeah, when I was making it last night, I forgot that I didn't have to rush around in the morning. So it is what it is. I'm just having it cold. I'm not arsed. It is a lot nicer of a meal when it's warm, but I can't remember last time I ate warm, to be fair. I'm just rushing around all the time. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm going to get this down and I'll catch you with meal two probably in a bit. Also, in terms of my salt intake, I've slightly differed my approach to this a little bit. Previously, I was literally just like cooking my food with salt, which is fine. But I wanted to experiment just being a little bit more dialed in with how much salt I'm actually having. Not for any particular reason, like I was already getting results prior. But I've heard a lot of benefits about really trying to dial in your electrolyte balance just throughout the days, especially around like the workout window and stuff. So then what I started doing was having 6 grams of pink salt. I think it might have been 8 grams of pink salt a day, and basically allocating that. So I've got around about a gram on my 4 meals like just shy of a gram on my meal 1, 2 and 3, and then on both my pre-workout and my post-workout meals having like 2 grams of salt on those. I want to have a lot of sodium prior to training, because I'm going to sweat when I train, and I want to keep the electrolytes up throughout the training session so I can get the best contractions that I can throughout the session. And then in the post-workout meal, I want to have sodium pretty high as well, for a few different reasons. Number one, I drink a lot of water, and I end up chugging quite a bit of water while I train. So I'm usually up all night pissing. Well, not up all night. I'm usually wake up at least like twice in the night to piss. Whereas I found having a little bit more salt before I go to bed, I'm not really getting up that much to piss. Only maybe like once or so, if that. So yeah, that's helped a lot. If you are someone who wakes up a lot in the night, needing the toilet, try having a little bit more salt in your last meal. Also, to just replenish the electrolytes after training, because when you're an EP, anyone who trains at EP knows, it's boiling. It's like, especially on hot days, you walk in, before you've even started training, you're sweating buckets. But now what I've started doing is, after speaking to, I think, Noah.jd on Insta, and I know a few other people do this. I know Joe Gann does this. I've started having 6 grams of pink salt and 4 grams of low salt, which is basically just a salt that is, I think it's, I want to say 66% less sodium, and it makes up the rest of the weight through potassium. And that is because I've done a little bit of research, and you actually want to try and have more of a closer to a 1-to-1 ratio between sodium and potassium. And I do get a decent amount of potassium in through my diet, through like potatoes and bananas and stuff. But because I was having a lot more added sodium through the salt, I've tried having more potassium, and to be fair, I haven't really noticed too much, I'll be honest. But beforehand, when I was having just purely sodium, I did think that I was holding on to a little bit of water, whereas now I don't feel like I am. So I guess that's the main thing I've noticed. But in all honesty, like performance-wise and stuff, I haven't noticed too much. Although my performance in the gym is going really well. So is that down to the sodium and potassium balance that I'm having? Probably not. It's probably due to everything else that I'm doing. Getting my meals in, getting my steps done, getting my cardio done, getting my water in, all those main important factors. This is just like a 1% thing that might help. But it's something I'm doing regardless, so I thought I'd share it. But anyways, I'm going to eat this and I'll catch you in a bit. Right, yes guys, hope you're all good. Meal number 2 is going down. It is now 20-1, so about 2.5, just 2 hours 45 since my last meal, which is kind of a good sort of time that I tend to space my meals out between on rest days, because I don't need to put them as close together because I'm not training. Usually when I'm training, I tend to leave about maybe just shy of 2.5 hours in between my first 4 meals. Then I have my last meal, like probably like 5. By the time I'm finished training, yeah, it's probably like 5.5 hours in between eating my pre-workout meal and having my post-workout meal. So what I do is I have my intro workout, which I'll show you on a training day. You can look into my previous training day, 4 days of eating if you want, it's all on there. But I've reduced the amount of the intro workout carbs that I have very slightly, not too much. I want to keep those pretty high throughout this whole diet so that I can help maintain my training performance, which should be a priority. But anyways, back on topic, meal 2, we have got the yogurt slash berry slash, it's basically blended up oats, Greek yogurt, whey protein with some dark chocolate and frozen berries in there. So yeah, it's lovely. It's one of my favourite meals, I'd say. Previously in the off season, I was having some drizzly peanut butter over there. I think I was having like 8 grams, 10 grams, something like that. That's completely out now. I've just kept in 6 grams of dark chocolate for some extra added fats. So this is now like 530 calories, I think, in this meal. It was like 670, closer to 700, I think, in the off season. But yeah, it's a little bit less now. I still get the fruit in. I don't want to change the fruit amounts because even when you are dieting, you still want to keep a good micronutrient intake and a fibre intake, especially as you're dieting. You want to be keeping that fibre up so that you can actually go, as opposed to being all constipated, which is not what you want when you're dieting. Obviously, when you are eating less food, you are going to need to go to the toilet less, but you still want to be having pretty regular bowel movements so that you're not all like bunged up and constipated, whatever. You want everything to be passing through so that you can actually like pull a stomach vacuum and stuff like that. I know if I really need the toilet, it's a bit more of a struggle to pull a stomach vacuum. So yeah, that is meal 2. I'm gonna put this down now and then do a little bit of a walk afterwards just to help get some extra steps in. My step goal at the moment is 14,000, which equates to around about, I think, 140 minutes worth of walking. So if you spread that out over the day, that's what, 2 hours 20 worth of just walking around. But if you spread that out, that's, let's say, 4 half-an-hour walks, and then the rest of these steps you'll just get done through walking to and from the toilet, walking around your office at work, walking around the house doing jobs with cleaning and whatnot. If you've got a more active job, you'll get way more than that done at work as well. So yeah, it's not too hard to get done if you plan the time to get the steps in, especially if you are more sedentary. You do have more of a sedentary job, you need to schedule in time to actually go on walks and get the steps in. And try and do something while you're doing them as well to like still be productive. Whether that's like doing something on your phone, whether you need to ring someone, whether you need to like order something, just do something at the same time basically. Because if you're on an iPhone, you can still go on your phone and track steps. I used to think that it wouldn't track if you're holding your phone in your hand. It does, which I wish I knew that sooner, because I would have used my phone a lot more when I was doing steps as opposed to just putting in a podcast or whatnot and just sort of like not having dead time, because it is still productive. Like you are doing steps, but you could be more productive if you do something on your phone at the same time. So yeah, food for thought. Right, yes guys, hope you're all good. Rest day meal number 3 is going down. It's the usual: sweet potatoes, chicken, avocado and mixed vegetables, which is lovely. It's one of my favourite meals, I'd say. I'm trying to think what my favourite ones are. My favourite meal today would be meal number 5, where I've got the mince and wrap. Well, single wrap now, which I'll get to later on. And then I'd probably say either meal number 2 or this. It's definitely not meal number 1 or meal number 4. Although I don't mind them. I just prefer meals 2, 3 and 5 personally. But yeah, I've took the avocado in this from 100 grams down to 50 grams. Take out a little bit of fats, so that basically means when I'm preparing them, because I usually prepare these in batches of 2 at a time, I can just stick 1 avocado in instead of 2. And then I pulled the sweet potato down from, I think it got up to 375 grams in this. It's now down to like 200, I think it's down to like 210 grams, I think, something like that. So yeah, it's nearly half the sweet potato in there actually. So yeah, it's come down quite a bit. And then I've kept the veg the same because of micronutrients and fibre, and the chicken the same because you want to keep your protein consistent. For the most part, aside from meal number 1, where I've pulled a bit of the protein out of that because I already had very high protein on rest days, I've kept protein pretty much consistent through all the rest of my rest day meals. So I'm still sitting around 50 to 60 grams of protein per meal. Meal number 4 is a little bit extra protein, but I'll delve into that in a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to eat this, box off another chunk of, let's say, 15 minutes of steps on the walking pad, and then crack back on with some more work. So I'll catch you in a bit. Adios. Right, yes guys, hope you're all good, hope you can all hear me. I've left my mic at home, so I don't know if the audio is going to be a bit cooked while I'm walking outside with all the cars driving past, but basically just doing a little, well, I would say a digestion walk after meal 3, but I already did that. So now I'm just walking to the leisure centre to box off a few extra little bits of steps and train abs. I've got hanging leg raises on the cards, and if anyone is on my close friend story on Instagram, you'll know it might end a little bit mental. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen today and I get 2 smooth sets done. Then it's just a food shop and back home for meal 4. Then I actually have a bit of a chilled out evening. It's a rest day. I've done most of the stuff I need to do, so I just need to chop up some chicken, make my couple extra little meals, but it's nothing extensive today in terms of meal prep. Then just have my meal 5 and then get to bed. I'll probably shave actually. I try. Since competing, I've started doing full body shaves at like every 3 to 4 weeks, just because I feel so much better without having body hair. I don't know what it is. It's just having body hair now. It just feels grim. I know it's normal, but Jesus man, since competing, I feel like I haven't let myself go without doing a full body shave for like longer than 4 weeks. Genuinely, probably just out of habit. And then obviously as you start cutting down, the less body hair you have, the more definition you can see. And I guess you kind of want to still see the remaining bit of definition as you are bulking up. So I guess that's why. But anyways, I'll catch you probably for meal 4. I'm not going to show my sets of leg raises because I'm doing it in the leisure centre and in my house. And I don't want to back out a tripod to start filming my sets surrounded by a bunch of kids and old women. So yeah, I'll just leave it like that. Right, yes guys, I've had my meal 4, but I completely forgot that I was filming this full day of eating, so I just basically ate it. I managed to get a picture of it before, because I usually just take pictures of all my meals before I eat them, but I'll put that up on the screen over here. It was, what is it, I think it's down to 60 grams of jasmine rice, I want to say, and then 250 grams of 2% turkey mince. So previously I was having 7% turkey mince, now it's down to 2%. The macros on it are similar. There's a little bit more protein in the 2% because weight-wise, it's the exact same weight, it's 250 grams. But because there's less fat, they make up the rest of the weight with more protein, if that makes sense. So yeah, a little bit extra protein in that and less fat because it's 2% fat as opposed to 7% fat. And it's like trace carbs. There might be like a gram of carbs in there or something, next to none basically. So yeah, that was meal 4. And I had a wrap, well, half of that in a wrap as well, and a little bit of low sugar ketchup, like 35 grams, which I think is like 20 calories, something like that. So yeah, that's meal 4, and it's one of my lesser favourite meals of the day, but it's still a good meal. It's quite a lot of protein, to be fair, just because of the turkey mince, but I do like to vary my protein sources from time to time. I feel like if you are having too much normal beef mince, even if you're getting like the low fatty cuts, it's still going to add up to quite a decent bit of saturated fats if you're having, let's say, beef mince for 3 out of 5 of your meals for the day, which I don't think many people do, but still, things like that could add up. So I do like to vary the protein sources because I do technically have 1 beef mince meal every day. And then in terms of chicken as well, I fancied having something else than chicken, so I had turkey mince. So yeah, that's the reason for that one. But aside from that, pretty much just the same as the off season. I've ticked off all my steps for the day now, so I've done my 14k. So anything I do over that is kind of just like pottering around the house, just little bits here and there. I need to do a bit of meal prep later on, but yeah, that's pretty much everything. I'll catch you with meal 5 because there's not much else to waffle on about. Right, yes guys, our last meal of the day is going down. We have got one of my favourites, the beef mince and rice combination. I used to have this in 2 wraps, as you probably will have seen on the previous rest day, full day of eating. However, now, due to me cutting, the wrap has come down to 1 wrap. So yeah, and I've also pulled the amount of rice down very slightly. So I think I'm having 75 grams of rice with this and 1 wrap, and kept the amount of veg and the amount of beef mince the same. And I've also kept the amount of bolognese sauce that I have in here the same, just because it's easy to divide up through the jar. I usually buy 1 jar, divide that into 4 portions alongside the 4 portions of mince that I make when I batch prep the mince. So yeah, makes it nice and easy, and the sauce isn't that high calorie anyway, so I can get away with pulling more calories from the rice if needed. So yeah, I'm gonna have this, and then I'll start to dice up some chicken and then I'll get to bed. But yeah, that is the rest day, full day of eating really. I'm also going to have a little shot of creatine that I've left downstairs. I don't know why I've left that downstairs, but yeah, that is, I'm using it at the moment. I would show you the little tub of flavoured cherry fizz sherbet flavoured creatine that I've got from Perform. They just chucked it on my order with the 2 kilo tub of protein that I ordered, which is very kind of them. But yeah, I think that's because they put the prices up, so now they just chuck in something free, which basically kind of means that it probably works out around about the same price. But I'd probably would I rather just pay the normal price for the protein than pay extra and get something else for free? I don't know. Either way, the Perform stuff's good, so I can't really complain. But yeah, I'm gonna eat this last meal, get to bed, and probably catch you in the next video. All my steps are done, all my cardio's done. Literally just got a bit of meal prep, and then yeah, done for the day. All the boxes ticked, ready to progress. And yeah, tomorrow is an upper session. I'm not going to film another training day, full day of eating just yet because my food is still relatively high. I'll wait until it gets a little bit lower. Also, just to divide up the amount of full days of eating I post on the bounce on YouTube. I'm not going to just chuck fucking full day of eating after full day of eating after full day of eating. I'd rather divide it up with some training videos in there too, or maybe some educational, informative videos to help you out. So yeah, I'm gonna eat this before it goes cold, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe, helps me out. It doesn't really, I'm not at the point where it does anything, to be fair, just to help push the channel out a little bit more, which would be nice. But yeah, catch you guys in the next one. Adios.